بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها النبي إذا طلقتم النساء فطلقوهن لعدتهن وأحصوا العدة واتقوا الله ربكم لا تخرجوهن من بيوتهن ولا يخرجن إلا أن يأتين بفاحشة مبينة وتلك حدود الله ومن يتعد حدود الله فقد ظلم نفسه لا تدري لعل الله يحدث بعد ذلك أمرا فإذا بلغن أجلهن فأمسكوهن بمعروف أو فارقوهن بمعروف وأشهدوا ذوي عدل منكم وأقيموا الشهادة لله ذلكم يوعظ به من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه إن الله بالغ أمره قد جعل الله لكل شيء قدرا واللائي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن 3 أشهر واللائي لم يحضن وأولاة الأحمال أجلهن أن يضعن حملهن ومن يتق الله يجعل له من أمره يسرا ذلك أمر الله أنزله إليكم ومن يتق الله يكفر عنه سيئاته ويعظم له أجرا أسكنوهن من حيث سكنتم من وجدكم ولا تضاروهن لتضيقوا عليهن وإن كن أولات حمل فأنفقوا عليهن حتى يضعن حملهن فإن أرضعن لكم فآتوهن أجورهن وأتمروا بينكم بمعروف وإن تعاسرتم فسترضع له أخرى لينفق ذو سعة من سعته ومن قدر عليه رزقه فلينفق مما آتاه الله لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا ما آتاها سيجعل الله بعد عسر يسرا وكأين من قرية
As the gender war rages on, in order to keep the peace, we must discuss the exact facts. Welcome to Ex-Faktly. I'm your host, Saudi Mam. Remove your shoes and enter upon your right foot, upon the right state of mind, bi'idhnillah. Topic. Houston, we have a Nikah. Astronaut marriages until we reach Earth. And what do I mean by reaching Earth? Meaning that a lot of times when a man and woman come together, their heads are in the clouds. They have a lot of expectations, the woman on the man and the man on the woman. Lots of expectations and maybe some things they have agreed to previously. But when the reality sets in, then they reach Earth. They reach Earth. So my solution to, especially after I heard there were a group of Muslim youth, and really youth, early 20s, I think, they were saying that they were going to give up on marriage. They were going to basically just focus on their finances and give up, on the game, the hunt, the whole theater of marriage. And that struck me, and it bothered me to hear that, because marriage is not something that should be frustrating or that you give up on, but marriage is something that you really should look forward to. It is part and parcel the transition from boyhood to manhood, and it is Allah Ta'ala defines a well-oiled, balanced marriage as something that produces sakina, it produces tranquility. So it's not something that we should frown upon or give up on, so on and so forth. Nevertheless, the issue of astronaut marriages, literally, when I came up with the term, I was thinking along the terms of al-misyar, okay, the marriage of concession, I like to call it. Basically, she floats in her space and you float in your space, and you fulfill the rights of marriage by the Sharia, and she fulfills the rights of marriage by the Sharia, and you are indeed married, but you all are floating in your own spaces until the reality sets in and you reach Earth. Now, the mutual agreement to give up some of your haqooq or some of your rights, this is known as al-misyar, when a person gives up their rights. Mainly from the woman's side, she's given up her right to equal nights with the other wife, or if there is another wife, or she's given up her rights to have maintenance, because she may not in need of any maintenance. She may be economically, established and not in need of maintenance, but she really wants companionship. She really wants the companionship, and she doesn't want any of the red tape to get in the way. Maybe she's used to a certain lifestyle and she meets a man of high character and she wants to make that man her husband, but she knows very well that he can't afford, not only cannot afford to maintain her lifestyle, he can't afford the house taxes. I came across a older couple. It was a black gentleman and a Filipino woman. Older couple. And their house taxes cost as much as I pay for my house. That is amazing. Amazing. Okay. Well, they live in a neighborhood called Castle Hills. So I guess, it comes with the territory. Nevertheless, so in al-misyar, she would give up some of her rights. Okay, in order to get that companionship, because sometimes a good man may not make what is known as good money. A good man may not make what is known as good money. So therefore, the woman, in order to have that man, may give up some of her rights. Now, we have to discuss muta'ah, or the temporary marriage practiced today by the Shia. And I've heard some so-called Sunni brothers try to dabble in it. Basically, it's an issue of pleasure. It's not intelligent. It's animalistic, and it was allowed for the soldiers, the mujahideen, that would be on long campaigns from home. Long campaigns from home. And what would happen? They would go and contract a wife temporarily while they are in that particular place, as not to be tempted to make some haram. Now, this is a tradition that preceded Islam, that Muhammad SAW allowed. He allowed even after. But after a period of time when Allah Ta'ala revealed the rules for nikah, then the muta'ah was abolished. It was abolished. Okay. So, again, allowed for long ago for soldiers that, were off for long campaigns. They would get married with knowing that at the end of that campaign, they would indeed return home. Now, the children that came from that marriage indeed had rights. The woman was actually a wife. There was, all of the details of marriage and the articles of marriage were fulfilled, except that this was known to be temporary from the jump. Now, we get married. Even people like myself that have been married several times, I get married every time with the intention of life, being married for life. But again, as I mentioned all the time, divorce was revealed as a solution, not a problem. So I will come across a particular issue I can't deal with, or she may come across a particular issue that she can't deal with, and then we will amicably separate. We would do that. Now, we amicably separate, and this is not something that shakes Allah Ta'ala's throne. This hadith is not an authentic hadith that it shakes Allah Ta'ala's throne. Allah Ta'ala is unbothered by his creation. As Allah Ta'ala tells us that if all of mankind and jinn obeyed Allah Ta'ala to the best of their ability, they would not increase Allah's kingdom. And if they disobeyed Allah Ta'ala to the best of their ability, they would not decrease Allah Ta'ala's kingdom. And my allergies are bothering me right now. And Yusuf's not helping me at all. Can you hand me a tissue, Akhi, inshallah? See, I got him, I run this, pretty much behind the scenes. Shukran, Akhi. Behind the scenes, I run this, mashallah. So, alhamdulillah. And if you notice my elbows and my hands are ashy, I would gratefully ask you to leave me alone. Okay. So, with this issue, let's go through the particulars, because we have to discuss what am I proposing astronaut marriage that makes it, so different or any way unique. Okay. This mut'ah, again, was for the soldiers and on long campaigns. Okay. The Shia mut'ah, the way they practice it even today, does not involve a wali. Now, some of them might try to bring a wali in, but basically he's a friend of theirs, or someone that's just really a stand-in. He could be even, for lack of a better term, a pimp. Even a pimp, okay, in the community that is finding these women that are down with the mut'ah swirl. So there are no shahidain, there are no two witnesses, minimal. There are no two witnesses. There is a mahar, okay, and there is a time limit. One Shia brother told me no shorter than a day, no longer than a year, or something he told me. But of course they would differ from one to another. Why? Because this is not an Islamic standard. Mut'ah is not an Islamic standard. So they're going to differ from one individual to another, because remember, this is a pleasure marriage. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Coming from the streets, okay? Deep in the streets. When I first heard about muta'ah, what did I say? I said, this is prostitution. It has all of the bells and whistles of prostitution, except they trying to justify it religiously, okay? But Muhammad SAW did not allow the soldiers to practice it that way. It had all the bells and whistles of marriage, except that it was temporary, okay? Except that it was temporary. And then Muhammad SAW, abolished it when Allah Ta'ala revealed the rules of Nikah, And Muhammad SAW stated in the famous hadith, La nikah illa bi waliyin wa shahidain. There's no marriage except with the wali and two witnesses. Okay. So again, Allah Ta'ala instituted the mahar. Okay, that will be given. So with this this muta'ah, again, time limit, right? And it was for everybody. Everybody. You can be walking down the street and see a Shia sister and say, hey, muta. She say, muta. And then y'all go to a hotel, and you pay her a certain amount of money, I guess that's how they do it, but nevertheless, it's for everybody. You don't have to be on a campaign. You don't have to be a soldier, nothing. So they open up the floodgates for muta'ah, and it's, it is what it is. It doesn't have the substance or even the aura of marriage. There's not even a shadow of marriage surrounding muta'ah. It was something to and it had restrictions, and it was something so that the soldiers did not fall into zina, Nevertheless, this muta'ah, where you go outside of your wife, okay? Your wife can be present. She's in the same city. Remember how they open it up for everybody. She's in the same city with you, but you happen to be at a cafe, and you see a Shia woman, and you say muta, she say muta, and y'all go to a hotel for a certain price. And that's, while your wife is at home. Now, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us that if we're out in public and a woman arouses us, go home to your wife because she has the same thing that woman has. I like to add, not to the hadith, but to the wisdom of it, I say minus the disease or the potential for disease, So this issue is quite troubling, how they even took something like muta'ah, which is like somebody from the streets to understand street life would find uncomfortable with a religious justification. You will find it uncomfortable the way they practice it, okay? Even with mushrikat, even with pagan women, they say you can make muta'ah. You see a Buddhist twisted up in a yoga pose, you could make muta'ah with her, okay? You see a Hindu with a double dot, you can make muta'ah with her. There's no restriction. And this is what they started to do. I am hearing in certain sects of Shiism that you can muta'ah with another man's wife. That's what I'm hearing. Wallahu alam if it's true. But if you look at the pattern, what they did, they're not practicing it even within the constraints that Islam gave to it before it abolished it. They're not even practicing it with the constraints. They are loosey-goosey, willy-nilly with it. And I am not going to poo-poo the fact or the accusation that they will muta another man's wife. I'm not going to totally dismiss that. The only similarity between the way it was practiced before Muhammad SAW abolished it, the only similarity is the time limit. That's the only similarity. After that, so much interpolation of it came that it doesn't even reflect the shadow of marriage anymore. Now, the similarity that it has is not with marriage, not with nikah, but it has with, indeed, prostitution. Al-Misyar, okay, the marriage of concession. I'm not even sure how you translate Al-Misyar. How would you translate Al-Misyar?
Alif Lam Mim Ya Sin Alif Ra.
You gonna do that again? Anyway, so the Al-Misyar is basically a marriage of concessions. She or he, mainly her, from my understanding, is relaxing certain rights that she know is a right upon herself, and she is going to relax those rights in order to make the companionship. Now, I heard this on the Kevin Samuels show long ago. He said he told this one woman, she was nearing 50, if not above 50. He told her, you need to stop looking for a knight in shining armor. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, so I'm not quoting word for word. He said, you need to be looking for a companion. You be looking for a companion. He told her to spend your last living years with, or your last days with. That's what you should be looking for. Stop with that Barbie dream house. You saw a commercial, or you saw a television show, by Tyler Perry or somebody in a dress, and you think that that's going to be you. You know what I'm saying? You saw a movie called Jesus Hold My Horse or something that Tyler Perry made, where this woman that was 50-something years old found this young Jamaican kid with muscles, and you got to stop living fantasy and look for companionship. Anyway, al-misyar, you're relaxing some of your rights by contract. Okay. Many today, I've heard of marriages today, they don't call it al-misyar, but guess what, Eddie? It is what it is. The woman is relaxing a lot of her rights. The man is agreeing to things that are outside of his rights, and they're practicing al-misyar, but they don't call it that. Very few times is a marriage, especially with these traditional Muslim parents and things like that, very few times is the marriage just a standard marriage, a standard nikah. Very few times. But it is a marriage of concession that we're seeing this a lot, and people are not calling it what it is. It's like the man walking the goat. And he passed by someone says, nice dog. He said, no, this is my goat. And he continues to walk, and he passed by someone else, and they say, nice dog. He said, no, this is my goat. He passed by someone else later on down the road. He said, nice dog. He said, thank you. You see what happened? We're making al-misyar type marriage, a marriage of concessions, and we're just calling it marriage. But what happens when there is some dispute and you have to call the witnesses and things like that, and you have something on contract that has yet to be fulfilled, or something that needs to be or is requesting to be modified? See, this is the issue. In a traditional marriage, I can see going from traditional to al-misyar, but I can't see from going from al-misyar to traditional. Why? Because the reason you made the marriage of al-misyar is because there was some irreconcilable circumstance. Like, for instance, you can't afford her bills. You can't afford her bills. And not even the bare minimum. Maybe she's used to caviar, and you're like, man, I'm not buying no caviar. Or she's used to a certain type of dress, where Allah blessed her and she shows Allah's blessing, upon her. And you can't afford those type duds. So there's many reasons to go into it. I think when people are giving up on traditional marriage and traditional standards, I think they need to look into it. As to have companionship. Otherwise, you won't get it. That 50-year-old woman that been through all that experience, that has all these standards now, I'm not going to put up with this, and I'm not going to put up with that. You're not going to put up with anyone at any time, and you have no prospects of marriage. And any man that's promising you marriage is probably sitting on your couch alone with you drinking tea, Because we know the kuffar do 7-year engagements and things like that. This stuff is unheard of as far as the deen. We're supposed to rush the nikah. If that man is suitable, if that woman is suitable, you should rush for the nikah. And this is something that we are lacking. Nevertheless, many today are involved in al-misyar marriage, knowingly and unknowingly. Okay, I know some of these situations, and it is indeed al-misyar. Some say she can reinstate her rights after agreeing to relax them. She can say, you know what? I agreed to give your first wife 2 days and I get 1 day. Then she gets 2 days, I get 1 day. Then she gets 2 days, I get one. I agreed to this rotation, this unbalanced rotation, but now I want to reinstate my rights. Well, this is a clear way to get divorced, because why? He could not give you the standard. Okay, he offered you companionship. Yes, there's an imbalance, but you agreed to it, which makes it al-misyar. You agreed to it. Okay. Now let's say that you were in school and you really didn't have a lot of time, but you wanted to calm your wiggles. To have a husband and calm your wiggles, that companionship. Okay. Instead of being, all your friends going to the club, and you at home all by yourself, you have no one. You say, man, look, I want to get married. I want someone. I don't want to go out and make haram, put myself in haram situation. So you got married now, you finished school. So you tell that man that you married through al-misyar, the marriage of concession. You tell that man, now I want to have the regular thing. Well, he probably should be understanding and saying, yeah, you were, but I'm not willing to offer that to you. If he's not, and if he is, then, no problem. No problem. But this is what we are experiencing these days. It is difficult to find a traditional woman. You say, well, same for the men. That may be true, but the vast majority, it is not even in regards to tradition. Men want traditional women. Men that are not complaining about paying bills. Men are not complaining about protection. Men are not complaining about being the one responsible in the sight of Allah Ta'ala if things don't go well. Men are not complaining about that. Okay. I never heard a man complain that if there's an active shooter that he would shadow his family and take the bullets in the back. I never heard a man complain about that, because this is his duty. He wrote it. I mean, it's not in the contract, but it's implied in the contract when you are called the protector. Okay. So I never heard a man complain about that. But the women complain, oh, he wants obedience. Oh, he wants submissiveness. Oh, he wants me to be always feminine. That type of, I heard women complain about those types of things. So the imbalance is really mostly on the woman's side. And you might be saying, oh, I knew you would say that. Well, this is the reality. And sometimes the reality is, it's not so palatable to those that are, part of that negative side of the reality. But nevertheless, I disagree that she can change and reinstate her rights after she agreed to relax them, because that was a concession that brought you all together. See, that was a concession that brought you all together. And without that concession, you all would not have come together. Okay. Now, ask for his understanding. Ask him, hey, look, now I want equal. And your first wife, if you have a first, second, third wife, whatever, before her, your first, second, third, whatever wife should be understanding. They know that she only signed that concession because she was in university, and you only agreed to it because she don't have time for you anyway, except that once or twice a week. Okay. So a man of wisdom, a man of a heart with a heart would say, okay, let's modify that. And your co-wives, your sisters in marriage and deen, inshallah, should really understand that as well. Okay. And if a woman wants more time, y'all need to do some family stuff, like at one time when I had three, the first and the third, we would go out to Islamic functions together. We would go to the mall together, and things like that, and so on and so forth. We would, so basically, so they get more face time, for lack of a better term, with me. They decided to do things together. Of course, I would spend the night at one place, but they decided to do things together to get more face time. And if you look at my face right now, you'd be like, why would they want more face time? But nevertheless, this was the reality. Okay. So again, with astronaut marriages, if women are quick to say, especially the first wife, quick to say, you can't afford another wife. You're not financially stable enough. Well, first of all, you need to stop telling your wife how much money you make. We can talk about that too. You need to stop snitching on yourself. It is not her business. I have some notes on a show to do about the fallacy of your money, her money, her money, her money. That's a fallacy. That's not Islamically sound at all. Okay? That's a fallacy. And I want to give the details right now because, this is a different topic. But nevertheless, first wives are quick to say you can't afford such and such. I guarantee you, if you find a sister that is well off, that does not demand anything except your companionship, your intimacy, your protection, okay, your voice on the other end of a phone, halal, to talk about the things that she can't talk to anyone about, to confide in. A husband, okay, a husband. If you find that woman, now you are able to afford. Now you are able to afford. So you don't have to always be able to, count your coins and then look for a wife. It doesn't have to work like that. You could find a woman that is economically independent. And if she agrees to this marriage of al-misyar, then, and to relax her rights to maintenance because she makes more than you, Okay, look, well, you don't want to relax your rights to maintenance? Then I'm going to move you into such and such apartment. I don't want to live over there. Well, that's what I can afford. That's what I can afford. So I know many women like that. One sister in particular in Dubai, that I was communicating with on Yahoo Messenger. So, that was a long time ago, subhanAllah. She said, look, I want to marry you. I'll fly you and your family here, established resident. I will take care of you, your wife, and your kids if you marry me. What the sister told me. Now, I had no reason to believe she didn't have the money. I believe she had the money, okay? But I'm going to just, tell you why I didn't, okay? I had mega duties at the masjid, okay? It took up a lot of my time, okay? I didn't want to not say give that up. There's no salary. I'm not going to say give it up. I felt obligated, and I'll say I was a fool. SubhanAllah. I felt obligated, so I didn't marry her. Number two, she said that there will be no need for me to work. And I said, I'm a man. I have to work. I'm a man. She said, oh, what do you do? I say, I do construction. I build. She said, you'll be a slave here. So just gather up your family and come and live with me and I'll take care of everything, financially. And there was another reason I didn't marry her. But nevertheless, I didn't. Yeah, brother said sugar mama, subhanAllah. Yeah, so I didn't marry her. And of course, hindsight 2020, you kind of regret now, probably would never met that Philly girl and all the other kind of crap I've been through. But nevertheless, I don't know if she was older, man. She was bigger, but I don't know if she was older. But nevertheless, so the whole point of that was she was willing, no matter how broke I was, she was willing to handle. She said, I'll take care of your wife and your kids if you'll marry me, and she may have had something wrong with her sight because, again, look at my face. But nevertheless, alhamdulillah, astronaut marriages may be the wave of the future for brothers that are in a society where you're constantly bombarded with sexual innuendos, that type of thing, just constantly bombarded with libido and do this and do that, and it's all physical, So again, these astronaut marriages, the sister is living a certain, maybe her, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, but it's another, this thing about, well, my bills equal this much, can you afford me? No, no. You accrued that. That is from your own efforts, Just like they say, what they say, two-thirds of the student loan debt is in the hands of women, you know. I'm not assuming any of that. I'm not going to inherit any of that by default, you know. The issue is that either you want to be married and balanced or you don't. You want to be married and balanced or you don't. And that is the issue. So just think about astronaut marriages. Look, you float in your space. I'm going to float over here, okay? And if things change and we can actually come together and settle down on earth together, then we'll do so. But until then, you're going to be in a halal situation. I'm just a phone call away when it comes to protection. If I'm not there on your night, I only make this much amount of money, my high valueness is in my deen and my belief in Allah Ta'ala, and my knowledge of the deen, which I will indeed impart to you. And sometimes she has knowledge, to give, to you as well. But nevertheless, the whole point is that we have to get rid of this surplus of single sisters that won't get married. Many of them hit the wall. They don't think there's a man for them out there. You know why? A lot of times it's their vision of the outcome. Their vision of the outcome is the traditional lifestyle and family, but they are past that ability to give that tradition, Yes, they can be soft and feminine and agreeable and stuff like that. They can be all of that. But like Coach Kareem was mentioning earlier, that men are looking for youth, fertility, beauty, they're looking for things like that. And this is what men want, and you can't, but that doesn't mean a man doesn't want a woman that's older and mature. I mean, those women are beautiful too, but Allah put this thing in man, engineered in man in order to perpetuate life, to sustain life, and progeny. Allah put that in man innate, that he naturally goes for the younger, fertile, more beautiful. Okay, he naturally leans that way. And if you are 50 some odd years old, you may think, man, I'm not even worried about a husband. I don't even want to get married. Oh, look at that brother right there. Or even they look on TV, they say, oh, look at this kafir right there. He is so handsome. I've heard Muslim sisters say that. Oh, look at that kafir. I wonder if he took shahada, he wouldn't want you. If he took shahada, guaranteed he would not want you. Okay? Guaranteed. He will go for what? He's rich. He's famous. He's a movie star. He's a rapper. He's a singer, whatever. Who is he going to go for? Young, fertile, pretty. And that doesn't mean you're not pretty. You're beautiful. But you're not young and you're not fertile anymore. So let's stop looking on TV and in commercials and at Tyler Perry movies, and expecting to have that fairy tale type love. No. You need to find you a man that's willing to float in his own space and give you your rights. Give you your rights, not to leave you hanging like a strange fruit, but actually he picks from you, he bites from you every now and again as agreed by contract. Sauda radiallahu anha gave her nights to Aisha radiallahu anha. Why? Ya Rasulullah, I am old and have lost my looks. She is young and I know she is your favorite. Give her my night, for that may better please the Rasul of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, and by way of that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my Lord. You see what just happened there? She agreed to a concession for the pleasure of the Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because her, her herself being elderly or older didn't require intimacy anymore. Didn't require intimacy anymore. How many couples sleep in the same room but in separate beds because they are older? They are older. This happens. They got couples that have 2 separate rooms in the same home. I don't know if this is only modern phenomena, but I know that When we have young, vibrant, handsome brothers giving up on marriage saying, I give up. I give up. Every time I meet a sister, everything goes well. As soon as we get to, the brass tacks of the issue, she throws out this tribal trash at me about this high dowry and these different standards. And she wants to this and she wants to that. And she wants to remove her hijab and dance around, on video just for one night. Just for one night, Habibi. Just for one night, Habibi, So she wants to, and like, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that. Well, can we jump the broom? Pagan practice, Can we throw rice? I hope it gets in your hair, because we can't be doing all of this stuff. We can't be, it's bad enough sisters are wearing the white wedding dress and all this stuff that the kuffar do. It's bad enough, Imams talking about, I now pronounce you man and wife, That's not even from Islam. That's something they adopted from the Christians. Me as a father can marry my daughter off. I can marry my daughter off. I don't need any imam. I don't need any father can marry his daughter off. You know what I'm saying? Any uncle can marry his niece off. Any grandfather can marry their granddaughter off. You don't need an imam. You don't need a masjid. You need to find a man that you agree to pass that torch to of protection and maintenance. Okay? Of protection and maintenance. So much so, when your daughter comes to you and say, Dad, can I borrow $100? You say, what for? And why don't you ask your husband for $100? That's what the father should say. He passed that torch of protection. That don't mean you won't give your daughter gifts and take care of your daughter, but you don't make sure you're not overstepping your bounds as a father by stepping on the toes of the husband. I've had women come to the masjid claiming they need sadaqah. I either neglected or I forgot to ask, are you married? Next thing you know, the husband calling, have you seen my wife? I said, who was that? Sister such and such. Oh, you're married to sister such and such? Yeah. She just came to the masjid for a few $100s. Man, I don't know where she is. She done jumped on the Greyhound or caught a flight somewhere. And I was part of that, And I had to scramble to try to make that right. And I swore I would never give a married woman, money like that until I called the husband and figure out what's going on. And if the husband ever sent his wife to the masjid, to ask for money, I would scold him. I would say, look, man, it is your duty to maintain her. And if anyone is to beg, you need to be begging. You come to the masjid and ask. Don't send your wife. That is highly unfair. Because the fairer voice, the woman is going to, that's why waitresses get tipped more. Well, this is the days of Qawmalut all over again. So maybe dudes get tipped equal now these days. But, women get tipped more, So again, this is the issue. Don't give up on marriage. Find someone that's willing to float in their own space, and you float in your own space until you get to know them. And the last thing I'm going to mention is this. It's a hard one. And I'm going to sound, two-faced saying this, A'udhu Billahi min Dhalik. But wait to shoot the club up. Wait before you shoot the club up, And that's even with a contraceptive, even with a prophylactic, I think they call it. Anyway, a condom. Even with that, you can wait to consummate bars. You can wait to consummate. You know why? Because people are complaining, especially the youth these days that don't really know much about deen. They say, oh, how am I going to marry somebody I don't know? Okay, well, you want to get to know them? Travel with them. Marry them, get under the akzawaj, get under the marital contract, and it's halal for you all to travel together, to be at the hotel together, to shower together. All of that is halal for you while you're getting to know them. Don't consummate. Get to know them, travel with them. You know what I'm saying? Live with them until you reach earth and you can say what? Now I know you. Let's consummate this thing. You can wait. It is reported that Rasul Muhammad waited a couple of years, I think, before he consummated with Aisha, before they actually had the walima. But nevertheless, That is your choice. You can shoot the club up on the first night. And I've been guilty of that. I raise my hand. I'm guilty of that. Okay. You can shoot the club up on the first night, or you can wait until you actually know that person. You know, that's intelligent to do. So this excuse of, I don't know, why would I marry a guy I don't know? Well, marry your cousin. Okay. You know your cousin, and he should marry his cousin. You know your cousin. But why would I marry a guy I don't know? Why would I marry a woman I don't know? Okay. Get under the marriage contract. The wali, the two witnesses, the mahar. Get under the marriage contract and spend time together to know each other. If you find something repulsive about her that you can't deal with, she finds something repulsive about you, character or what have you, and she can't deal with it, then you have an out. No harm, no foul. Return the dowry, halas, we're done. Safi, finished, okay? You can do that. But of course, we're going to keep shooting the club up because that's what we do. But nevertheless, don't give up on marriage. Find a woman in her own space, And if this man gives you, let's say, you are living, let's say you're living month to month, and you barely have a couple of hundred or a few hundred to save, every month. And you meet this man who says, I can't totally financially support you traditionally, but I have 500 extra a month I could give you as an allowance, while we're married, while we're married as astronauts, and I'll give you that 500, I'll give you 300, whatever. That can go directly into savings, Now your couple of hundred, buy yourself a purse, buy yourself some shoes, whatever you like to do. Some new overgarments, whatever. But nevertheless, the extra money he's giving you, your bills are already paid. You're paying them yourself. You were all alone at one time. Now he's giving you $500 a month allowance. Man, I wouldn't marry no man give me no $500 a month. Well, die alone. Die alone. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You won't have any companionship. You'll be alone, and you'll keep dependent. You'll keep bugging the imam, calling the imam every day. Brother imam, I got a question. Now you're lonely. You're lonely. You ain't got no question. You lonely. You ain't got no question. I know that game. Here's the issue. You're going to keep bugging, you're gonna fall weak for that dude that keep that kafir dude at your job. And this is what jobs are. Jobs are daycares of adultery. That's what jobs are. When a woman takes a job, when she takes a job, if she's not working with just women or what have you, and like, again, the days of Malut, you never know, but all they can do is practice. Like they can just do Allen Iverson. All they can do is practice. But nevertheless, the point is that she's working at this job with these men, I don't care how wonderful she covers. She's working with these men. These men love packaged goods, You ever get a gift and it's wrapped up? You can't wait to unwrap it. So this is what they see our Muslim sisters, and you're living in a workplace. She's gonna smile at her boss. She's gonna stay extra hours if her boss asks her to. She's not gonna talk back to her boss. She's gonna be feminine around her boss. She's gonna speak in terms of agreement with her boss. And then she'll get home with her husband, and she'll, stud up, for lack of a better term. That's the work environment. So then they come out with the term work husband. I'm mentioning these situations, I almost lost my mind one time. I tell you about my oldest daughter. She was in school, really, really young, maybe middle school, junior high as they call it. And some guy, one of her classmates, some guy said, he called her wifey. And I said, is he Muslim? No, he's not Muslim. I said, what is he calling you wifey for? Oh, that's something I think that's when they first started doing that years ago. 10, 12 years ago? I almost lost my mind. I said, man, I'll break that dude in half and wait for his daddy to get there and break his daddy in half, And her mom like, oh, he's a nice kid and his family. I met his family's. I say, I don't care. He's a kafir. He's a kafir. And I don't care what language they're using around the school. Don't call my daughter wifey. You know, I'll beat up your dad. I crushed that immediately, you know, because they got these terms going on today. Work husband. The boss is already the work husband, okay? He's all, because what he say go, you know. If I say I need you home by this time and boss say stay extra time, guess what the wife is going to do? She's going to stay the extra time. But then they got this, again, the terminology work husband. It's a guy at work that he makes her laugh, you know, so on and so forth. Basically, long story short, she's in a compromising situation that if not haram, will lead to haram. I got firsthand testimony of sisters being in situations like that, you know, they basically gave up lunch in the break room, for lack of a better term. They gave up the lunch in the break room. You know, the Arby's is in the break room. They had Arby's for break, on lunch break. And this is the problem that we are going through. This is another issue, but these women need to be married. They can't find a husband. They need to have realistic standards. Become an astronaut. A lot of astronaut men out there, you know. These men are floating in their own spaces maybe with their own families, okay? You call it yams, I call it Arby's. I've seen it. Anyway, so the point is that, you know, these men are floating in their own spaces and they can't afford they can't afford an extra spaceship for you, you know. You're floating in your own space. You holding it down. You ain't got no man, but you holding it down. Now here come this dude that can only afford $500 extra a month. And you're gonna poo-poo that? You're gonna shun that? You're gonna shame him? Oh, you broke this, and that. Okay, wonderful. 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 Find that man that's gonna pay your bills, be traditional, so on and so forth. Find that man. If not, you'll be at work in the break room giving up.
Arby's, we have the meats.
You give it up. You know, it's what happens. Real life situations on break in the workroom.
Arby's, we have the meats.
What happens? Nevertheless, that's all that I have. Let me go through, inshallah, the comments. Brothers were giving taslim. I apologize. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to all of those that gave taslim. Brother Michael L. Smith II, out of respect. Akaraba? Ali? Oh, okay, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Yusuf, he's not here. Jeremiah, mashallah. Jeremiah don't give taslim, he say LOL.
That's his taslim.
Yeah. So, Tam, of course, wa alaikum salam to you. Say, we don't care about your ashy elbows. We only care about the topic. Man, I'm working with something. My elbows are so white, my credit score went up. You know, nevertheless, Brother Hamid says, thank you for the info, mashallah. Bro says, what if it was agreed to be a temporary concession until the man can provide? Yes. See, by contract, the man has to stick to that, okay? By contract, the man has to stick to that. So if it's a temporary concession, then yes, a temporary rukhsa, that's a Sharia term actually, rukhsa, but it means concession. Temporary concession, then indeed it would be treated temporary. You know, like for instance, I mentioned if she's in university and she says, I don't have a lot of time, but I need to calm my wiggles. You seem to be, you're the brother I like physically, your deen is on point or to my standards, and let's do this. And then she graduates university, and then what happens? She says, now I have more time. I demand equal days. What are you going to do? Either you can meet that standard or you have to separate amicably. Subhanallah. Okay. Michael L. Smith II. Okay. Let me see. Alhamdulillah, shukran for the gems of wisdom. Alhamdulillah. Brother said, yam, the meats, Yeah. Yeah, that's a.
Arby's, we have the meats.
Oh yeah, we have him. We have the meats. Cash App for the future reference. Cash App for who? Not my Cash App. SubhanAllah. Yeah. But now I got time. Okay. I don't know what he's talking about, Cash App. Anyway, he says, how would you advise the man to not make it temporary, not to make it a temporary concession and pay her back when he can provide? I would not advise payback. That's in Islam, we are told to shun debt. To shun debt. You don't want to dig a hole for yourself. We are told to shun debt. Debt is not. Debt is begging is frowned upon, and debt is even more frowned upon than begging. We're told to avoid debt. I would not go into a situation on some hypothetical that in the future I'll pay you back for all the money I couldn't give you. Oh, I wouldn't do that. You know what you do? You nibble on her ear, whisper in her ear, kiss her neck. You know what I'm saying? Be very affectionate to her, give her very, very kind words. A woman prefers that over money every time. And if she wants money, then, okay. I mean, I'm saying if she wants money and not that, then, that's your situation. Like I said, Islam doesn't frown upon gold diggers unless they don't give you your rights, excuse me. So a woman can be a gold digger long as she is giving the rights. And that is the big issue for us today, is men giving women rights and women giving men rights. It's not even an issue of money. I know brothers that are broke and the sister is falling over herself, trying to get him just to spend more time at home. She's not even complaining about money, So again, that's just a situation. Mut'a is out. If you're going to give up on marriage, don't even think about mut'a, because like I said, some so-called Sunni brothers, which I am not a part of. I don't ascribe to any sect. I'm just Muslim like Allah named me. Okay, so some so-called Sunni brothers are contemplating mut'a. Some, because it's red pill crap. Some so-called Sunni brothers are saying that. And maybe Shia brothers too, but they have options, I'm going to give up on marriage as an institution. That's a real beta thing to say. All these foreign women, Muslim and non-Muslim, Ahlul Kitab women, that are available to you. Why would you give up on something so wonderful as a woman in marriage? When every time you approach her, Bismillah, Allah is blessing you for this. Allah is blessing you for something that you enjoy so much, as the Sahaba told the Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why would Allah Ta'ala bless us for something we enjoy so much? He said, would Allah Ta'ala punish you if you were with a prostitute, someone not halal for you? They said yes. He said, then why would Allah Ta'ala reward you for being with someone that He allows you? So it's not, even making jima' or intimate relations with your wife is not something that's in vain. Even that produces not only a physical pleasure and benefit, but it produces blessings above and beyond. And if you let her, reach orgasm first, then there's even more blessings for you. For those of you that are able. So it's nevertheless. Your brother said, Jazakallah khair, alhamdulillah, brother bro. I guess that's it. If there's no more questions, concerns, or correction, I welcome correction. You know why? Because that way we all grow. And I always say correction because I sit in many a khutbah, and it's man, dude up there saying anything. The Mufti Mink, I heard Mufti Mink say, he said, brothers should really, Islam says a brother can marry more than one wife, but make sure it's something you're doing for the right reasons, and that the brother has a good reason. What reason? You know what reason? Because he want to.
Yeah,
That's a good enough reason. Well, he can't afford it. Well, that doesn't, him not being able to afford it, perhaps he finds an astronaut. Oh, he's good then. He's good. Then you have no complaints. Matter of fact, she may, like the Dubai sister, she may add to the life and lifestyle of the first wife. You know, she's well off, you know, and she wants somebody to go shopping with, you know. She might want somebody to go shopping with. So don't always poo-poo Allah Ta'ala, what pleases Allah Ta'ala because it displeases you. Let it ride. No, let it ride. And if you find it difficult for yourself, just like with reciting Quran or any other effort, the harder it is to accomplish, you know, an act, a blessed act, the reward increases. The reward increases. So if you find it difficult to settle in or to, I ain't gonna say allow, to accept the fact that your husband has another wife, is going to take another wife, you find that difficult, then if you calm yourself and fight off your shaitan, what happens? Increased blessings. Alhamdulillah, increased blessings. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Sister, did you just get here? Sister Sylvia? Nevertheless, that's all that I have. And, you know, may Allah Ta'ala bless you all to find good mates. For those that were not here, share it. Please share it with those that could not make it or did not hear it. Any brother or sister that you heard make statements like, you know, I'm just gonna give up on marriage, no matter what the age is, you know. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Yeah. So no matter what the age is, there was one sister, you know, she was really up, maybe in her 60s, maybe Allahu Alam. And she was saying she took a picture without her hijab. I said, sister, you need to put on your hijab. She says, well, you know, I'm this old. I say, sister, I'm looking at you. I say, you are still beautiful, you know. And I say, there are many of men that are going to see you and going to be attracted to you, you know. And I'm sure you're not going to beat them away with a stick and say, I don't want to get married. I say, therefore, you still have zina. You have adornment. You have treasures that Allah blessed you with. I say you need to guard those. Okay, guard those. Don't be displaying those for every Tom, Dick, and Muhammad. You know, don't do that. You know, cover yourself. Oh, thank you, brother. You know, all she heard was the compliment. You know, she didn't, you know, hear the advice. She heard the compliment. But nevertheless, you know, just because you have that age, there's brothers looking. There's brothers looking. You know, and always keep yourself in a state of Islam. Never know when death is going to overtake you. And what's halal is better than what's haram on every level. So the advice I just gave, may Allah Ta'ala forgive me if I offered any advice that's off of the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And if I gave any advice that benefits you, inshallah, share it with others so that we all may benefit bi'idhnillah. This has been your brother Saudi Imam for Ex-Faktly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.